Okay, here we go, guys. Hello, guys, and welcome back. You're watching the Camera64 podcast, and I am your host, Alfonso Chavez. And as always, we're coming to you from sunny San Antonio here in the garage, guys. So here we are back in the garage. There has been so much stuff going on here at home. You know, I've been talking about it for the past couple of weeks. I haven't done a show in probably about a month now. And gosh, I'm so happy to be back here in front of the camera. And hopefully I can get this fly out of my face. I don't know how he got in here, but he's in here. But anyway, my son and my daughter-in-law have brought our son into the world. His name is Ezra, and we are so excited to have him. We welcome him with open arms, and he's been such a bundle of joy. He has quite a bit of lungs on him. He enjoys screaming and yelling at all hours of the night. So I told my son, welcome to fatherhood, with a great big smile on my face. But all kidding aside, guys, it's been fantastic. Ezra has been amazing. He looks almost identical to my son. It's like having a mini-me, as my son calls him, mini-me, which is in a reference to Austin Powers. If you like Austin Powers, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But today, guys, on the show, we are going to be answering questions that I grabbed off of Facebook. These are random questions from random people. So I am a part, just like you, I'm a part of many different groups, from Canon photographers to new photographers, professional photographers groups. It's the run of the gamut, guys. There's questions from, I'm a part of all these different groups, and I always come across questions that I want to answer, because I always, in my mind, when you read questions online, right, you always kind of answer it in your head. And if something is really nice, then I'll actually get in there and type up an answer for them and share that with them. I like to do that more for the newer groups, because, you know, as many of you know, I really enjoy using older cameras, and I highly recommend older cameras to new photographers because it's a great way to learn. You can do it very inexpensively. You can pick up EF lenses very inexpensively. I happen to shoot Canon, so I'm not necessarily saying you have to get Canon, but that's what I use, and you can get those lenses very inexpensively. Any brand that you're using, Nikon, Sony, it doesn't matter. But buying a late model camera and a late model lenses to go along with your camera, I think is a great source for you to start off with. Learn the process, because it, you know, as you know, once you learn photography, it doesn't matter. The brand doesn't matter anymore. Once you learn all your settings, it really does not matter anymore. Despite what everybody wants to say, I'm telling you right now, you can basically do whatever you want to with any camera that you have available to you. So just go with it. So let's start this off. The first question, I'm going to always read the question first, and then I'll give my thoughts on the question, and then we'll move on to the next question. So the first question today off of Facebook is, why do some of my photos come out dark or light? It might be because the angle at which I shoot, and yeah, the angle, when you change angles, you absolutely are going to change your exposure. When you're shooting in an automatic mode, the camera is always trying to figure out what is the best exposure for that situation. Okay, so because it's guessing on every single time you touch the shutter, you're gonna have some pictures that are dark, and you're gonna have some pictures that are light. That's just the way it is. So you might have a picture where you're shooting at 24 millimeters, where you're taking a huge wide angle shot. But guess what? If I zoom into a certain part of that picture, without even moving the camera, it's going to re-evaluate that entire scene. So you might get a darker image, or you might get a brighter image, depending on what the camera sees at the instant that you push the shutter. That's what automatic mode does. That's what it's designed to do. Now, can you get away from that? Yeah, you can shoot manual. But if you shoot manual, then again, if the camera's not making the adjustments, then you personally, or you as the photographer, are going to have to make the changes required to get the right exposure. But that's just the way it is. So that's why I always tell new photographers, don't worry about shooting in automatic modes. Professionals do it all the time. I shoot in automatic mode. If I'm outside during the day, I'm in automatic mode, period. That's just the way it is. That's when editing becomes super important, right? Because when you go through, you're gonna look through those pictures and you're gonna adjust those pictures. So the darker ones you're gonna bring up and the lighter ones you're gonna bring down, and you're just making all the pictures kind of even, right? You're just making them look all similar, and that's really important. That's where editing comes into play. But that's the reason why, is because every time you touch that shutter, the camera takes a look, evaluates, and shoots a picture. Sometimes it gets it right, sometimes it gets it wrong. If you're in manual mode, you'd be in the same situation. Sometimes you'll take the picture, sometimes it's going to be correctly exposed, sometimes it's going to be underexposed, okay? Because you're working fast, guys. That's normal. That's normal, okay? So don't worry too much about that. Okay, next one. It says, hello, can someone tell me why this lens is so heavy? Some people say it's because it has a lot of glass, others because of the metal components. Which one is true? Well, both are true, right? So different cameras, you use different materials, okay? Sigma is more prone to using metal. They use all metal bodies most of the time. Canon likes to use plastic bodies on their lenses, but either or, it's still heavy. The glass that's inside is also very heavy. And of course, the more premium that lens is, or the higher quality that lens is, the optics are going to be higher quality. And because they're higher quality, it might mean that they had to make some of the glass or some of the elements within the lens a little bit thicker, and that thickness increases the quality of the lens. So of course, if you have a prime lens, let's take something like your 50 millimeter 1.2, it's going to weigh a lot more than a 50 millimeter 1.8 because there's a whole lot more glass to make those cuts and make it much more accurate. And that with accuracy comes more glass, period. That's just the way it works. And then if you're picking up a premium lens, like as an example, my Sigma 35 Art lens, it's an all metal body, and it's hefty. It's a little bit over 1 pound. That's heavy for a lens, but it's not neither or. It can be either or it could be both. But either way, a lens weighs what it weighs, right, guys? We have to deal with it. If we feel that our glass is too heavy, then we can get something that's a little bit lighter. It might be the exact same lens as an f4 or maybe a 5.6, right? And that doggone fly, I'm going to have to go kill that fly. I swear I'm going to get that fly. Okay, next question. It says, so I've been shooting for 3 months. Is this overkill? So in the picture, he's got an EOS R with a 24-70, right? And he's asking me he's asking the group, is this overkill? Overkill for what? I don't understand that question, but hey, I don't think it's overkill. I mean, that's the lens right there with his camera. I think maybe he's never owned a camera that nice before. Maybe I'm just guessing. I don't know. But no, overkill in what form? It's a 24-70. That's the most used lens of all times, right? I don't think it doesn't even matter what brand you're buying. Nikon, Sony, Panasonic, Canon. The 24-70 is the staple. That's what everybody has. So is it overkill? I don't think so. That's like the most common lens. But anyways, I just thought I would include that in there. Okay, next question. It says, I plan on doing pictures with my family. We got an idea of me using my tripod to take the pictures since they want me in some of them. Question is, should I do these? Absolutely. That's the first question. It says, does a timer and auto exposure, autofocus? I need some guidance here, please. So yeah, absolutely. Shoot your own family. I've done it for years, right? Every time we get together for Christmas or Thanksgiving, I get the family together And most of the time we either go out to the front of the house or we'll sit in the backyard and do it in the backyard outside, or sometimes inside. I've done it we had Christmas at my aunt's one year. She's got this huge, beautiful fireplace. And so I set the camera up and we shot pictures. We shot pictures in front of the fireplace. And the big picture that she's talking about, where the actual photographer, like for me in my case, I would set it up just like my video camera is here and I'm talking to it, but you could also do the same thing for taking still pictures. I can't speak for the other ones, but on Canon, you have two options for not remote shooting, but delayed shooting. So you have a 2-second delay and a 10-second delay. So basically how that works is you set up the tripod, you come around behind it, and you look through it, you set up your shot. And when you're doing that, you decide, okay, where do I want to stand in this picture? So you've already decided where you're going to stand in the picture. And when you touch it, it focuses it. So everything's in focus. And then you're going to actually hit the button, boom. And the camera will not immediately take the picture. It's going to hold off depending on how much time did you put. Did you put a 2-second delay or did you put a 10-second delay? And now, obviously 2 seconds is really short for you to kind of take the picture and then run and get in there. So that 2-second delay is more for people that are doing landscape pictures. So the idea is that you push the button, the camera has 2 seconds to settle in to its final movement, and then boom, the picture's taken. So that 2 seconds in general is for landscape, and the 10-second is exactly for what you're talking about. So I push that, focus it up, and decide where I'm gonna be. Boom, I take my picture, push the button, and then I can walk away from the camera, get into the picture, and I got a total of 10 seconds from the time I push the button to actually get in the picture. And once I'm in there, the camera will automatically focus. It's going to focus one last time again before it takes the picture, and boom, voila, it's going to take the picture. And you will be in there. That's how that works, guys. So the next one up. Has anyone ever seen an error like this? I purchased an SD card the other day that was outside of the brand I normally buy. All images were shown on the back of the camera. I plugged it into my computer and they all stopped showing. And now I'm getting this error. I'm trying so hard not to freak out. Okay. So it just says card 1 cannot be accessed. Please reinsert the card or format the card with the camera. Okay. So that's a corrupt file. That happens. That's part of photography, guys. It's something to always think about. But the first thing that popped into my head when I saw that she said that she bought an off-brand from what she normally buys. Now, she didn't say what she normally buys, but definitely one thing I've learned as a photographer, actually, I take that back. The two components you should never cheap out on, guys, is as far as accessories go. And the first one is batteries, okay? You're better off getting a Canon battery. I know it's $75, and I know that you can go buy probably 4 or 5 of the generic ones. But I promise you that $175 Canon battery is going to last you 4 or 5 years versus all those four or five knockoff batteries. They're not going to last the 4 years. I promise you. I know from experience. I speak from experience when I tell you that. But going back to the card now, if you're going to buy cards and if you're going to spend any amount of money on them, you definitely want to spend it on spend your money on a card that is reputable from a reputable dealer. Now, guys, don't go to Amazon, okay, and buy pro grade cards. Don't go to Amazon and buy, what's the other brand? SanDisk, right? That's the other brand. Both of those brands are very good, but if you buy them on Amazon, there's a very good chance that they could be fake, okay? So what does that mean, right? You might buy a 64 gig card on B&H that you might spend maybe, I don't know, $50, $60. I haven't bought a card in a while. But you might find that exact same card on Amazon for half the price, maybe $30, okay? But that, guess what? You get that card, you format it, and it looks like it's working. It might work for a couple weeks. It might work for a couple months. And then all of a sudden, it just doesn't work. You get corrupted. Your files are corrupted. So what's a corrupted file? A lot of people don't understand. Okay, it's code, basically. It's computer code. That's all your camera's doing. It's recording, it's recording zeros and ones. And a corrupted file means that it didn't completely record all the file. It's missing some ones, it's missing some zeros. And your computer's going to do its best to put all those ones and zeros together, but because it's incomplete, essentially an incomplete file means that it's a corrupt file. And if you have a corrupt file, not only does it affect the actual picture itself, but it also affects all the pictures before and all the pictures after it. And that's the situation that I think this lady has found herself in. Now, sometimes you can use the SanDisk is the one that I use the most. They have a recovery software that you can use. And so long as you do not shoot over a card that you think is corrupt, don't shoot over it, and you run it through that software, there's a good chance that it might be able to get some of those pictures off, if not maybe even all of them except for the corrupt file. I have done that, and it does in fact work. So if you want to get the software without actually paying for it, it's actually cheaper to buy a new card. So you buy the SanDisk card, and it comes with the little cardboard deal. You split that cardboard. You want to be really careful when you do that. Split that cardboard, open it up, and on the inside, not only do you have the card, but you actually have a code. There'll be a code on the inside of that's going to be for you to download that software. And it's like a 1-year subscription or something like that. I don't remember the exact, I believe it's 1 year. So you get 1 year access to this. So basically you buy the card, you have 1 year access. When that gives out, you go buy another card. But it's well worth it because you're not only refreshing your card, but you're also refreshing your subscription to your software recovery. So that's probably what her issue is that she's dealing with. Good. Okay, next up, this is kind of a long one. I'm just going to go ahead and try and read through it. As you can tell, I'm not a great reader, but I do my best. It says, so guys and girls, after some tips and tricks, want to make some waves meeting the beach type photos on longish exposure to get nice blur. Castles in the background, so all good. But whenever I drop the shutter speed to a decent, like 45 seconds or minute, I put an f-stop to the highest it will go to my pictures and still absolutely bright as duck. I like when people cuss online, but he actually put, I don't do that, but it was bright as duck, basically. Excuse my language, what do I need to look at, please? So his question is, how do I take a long exposure? And he also gave us the camera, which I always recommend. He's got a 90D with a 70 to 200 2.8. Okay, so if you're shooting in the middle of the day, which I'm going to assume because it doesn't say here, he's trying to get a shoreline that's nice and dreamy. That's what he's trying to do, but during the day. Okay, so if you're trying to do this during the day, yeah, you're gonna need like a 12 stop ND filter. So 12 stops, what exactly does that mean? That means that you're taking your exposure and you're bringing it down 12 stops, okay? Essentially making day into night. And then once you do that with that grape, it's a big old filter that goes on here, and we screw it on like that, and it makes it really dark, okay? That's what it's doing. It's an ND filter. You need an ND filter. And yeah, I would recommend something that's in the 10 to 14 stop range, because that's going to get you where you need to be. If you need to stop down, for my long exposure, I don't do too much of that. That's not what I do. I shoot people most of the time, 90% of the time. No, it's more like 99% of the time. But when I used to mess around with landscapes and ND filters, I do own a lot of ND filters, but I use them a little bit differently because I shoot a lot of video during the day. So ND filters are important. But yeah, so you put the ND filter on, and You can have a set stop, or you can have what's called a variable. A variable just means that you can adjust it. So you can have 10 stops if you need 10 stops. And if you turn the ring on it, you can take it from 10 stops to 14 stops and back and forth, basically. So you can have some adjustment. And if you're going to buy such a filter, you want to buy something that's, high quality, like a Coker or something like that. There's a couple of different brands out there. Coker is just one that is pretty popular. A lot of people use it. But you can buy any brand. And what that does is it's going to allow you to shoot. Like my settings, I always like, when I'm shooting long exposure, it would be something like, ISO 100, f8, and maybe something like what he was saying, 30th of a second, or sometimes even longer. And you just adjust that ND filter to get the right amount of light. If it's too bright, then you just increase the ND filter a little bit, adjust it towards a little bit darker, and you just play that game going back and forth until you finally get the exposure just right. But essentially what you want to do is you want to get you an ND filter that's going to get those kind of pictures done for you. Okay. Next question. Hello, new to photography. I purchased a 70D and was wanting any input anyone might have about the camera. Thanks. Okay. Now, the 70D was a really popular camera for me. I really loved it. When the 70D was announced, I was super excited about it because of the dual pixel. I saw all the ads coming up to before it was released, and I was like super stoked about it. I remember telling my wife that I absolutely wanted one of these. I was not going to let this go by. Now, as you know, I like buying cameras a year or two after they come out because then I can get them used and cheaper. I let other customers handle the brunt of buying new cameras, right? I've only actually bought 3 cameras in my entire career, brand new. Everything else has been used, and I love the fact that I've been able to do that. But the 70D was one of those 3 cameras that I bought brand new because it was just so so exciting for me to have autofocus for video finally. It was a huge deal, and man, that camera was really good. It's amazing to me how good the 70D, even now, like if I'm out, like I was at a yard sale one time, they had a 70D. I guess the guy retired or something. I'm not sure what the backstory was, but he had it for like $200 and it was brand new in the box. So of course I bought it from him, right? I paid $200 for it. I shot all kinds of stuff with it. It was just, for me, it was just a flashback, It was a camera that I used to own, like I said, when it first came out. And I worked the living daylights out of it when I had it, the original one. And I kept this camera for about 6 months, 7 months. I had a great time shooting with it. And I just decided to sell it. So I sold it to a friend of mine whose daughter was into photography. So I was able to turn a profit on it. But that camera is fantastic. There's only one minor drawback to this camera. And it's one of the things, Canon, they addressed for the most part major issues, but it had a minor issue, and it had to do with focusing. Like I'm not even going to say certain lenses. It was all lenses, okay? If you were shooting through the viewfinder, you had the camera to your face, it would not focus consistently. It would sometimes back focus, it would sometimes front focus, but it was only using through the viewfinder. Any other time, any other situation, it worked fine. In video, if you were autofocusing in video, you didn't have that problem. If I put the camera in live view and I shot it off of my face, which I don't do, that's something that new kids do, like new photographers like to do that, where they'll just hold the camera out looking through. If you were looking through the live view screen, the camera focused amazingly good. It was super accurate, very accurate. But I just could never get used to shooting it held out like this because I'm old school, right? I want to put the camera to my face. I want to feel the camera on my face. And so that's why I ended up selling it again. Because I did used to, when I originally owned the original one, I missed a lot of focus. And that was something that Canon never addressed. And it continued on too, to the 80D, which I completely ignored. I didn't buy. And then I bought the 90D, which I still own now. But guess what? It still has that same minor issue, but I use it for video, so it doesn't affect me. But it's a great camera too, and I bought that very inexpensively too, very cheap. But yeah, the 70D is a great camera, guys. I would recommend it to a new photographer. If you can get that in used condition, hardly used, and that's the good thing. You know, I hate to. I'm going off the rails a little bit here, but a lot of those non-professional cameras, you can find a lot of them still brand new in the box, because what happens is people buy the camera and then they get overwhelmed by the camera. They put it in the box and they never take it out and they never use it. And so you can find like brand new examples and you can pick them up for like, because that camera when it first came out was $1,500 if I remember right. And if you got it with the lens, it was like $1,800 or $1,900. And the fact that you can go to eBay right now and probably find you a good version of it, like almost a brand new version of it for like $300 is amazing to me. But yeah, absolutely. It says, so okay, so here's the next question. It says, you think this is too much for a hobby? Careful, this is addicting. And that's what he has right there. So he's got all kinds of cameras, right? I mean, he's got it all, man. This guy's got an R6, he's got an R3, he's got the 70-200, he's got the 15-35. It looks like the extender. He's got the 200-500. I mean, this guy is all out, bro. He's got like easily 20 grand on that table. Too much for a hobbyist? No, not at all. If photography is your hobby, ooh, it's getting hot in the garage today. If you're a hobbyist and that's what you like doing, then that's what you like doing. I have friends whose hobbies are cars, and man, they spend $100,000 on a car. So hell, $25,000 on a camera collection versus $100,000 in cars. Yeah, I'll take the camera route any day of the year. Photography for me it's not a hobby. It's all business for me. I'll be quite frank. It's all business for me. But don't get me wrong. I absolutely love what I do. I'm always, whenever I have an event, I'm always beyond excited to get out there and start doing my job. I do genuinely love what I do. Okay. But no, it's not too much. Hell, if you want to spend $100,000 in cameras, and you need a friend to help you spend another $100,000 because you got the bones to do it, give me a call, man. We'll hang out. Next question. Indoor family event with poorly lit area. I have a Canon M50 Mark II and a kit lens. I don't have a big budget. Should I go for flash or new lens with lower f-stop? Okay. That's a loaded question. You can answer that question a whole bunch of different ways, but one way that I highly recommend, not only for this event in particular, shooting family pictures in a dark environment, you definitely want to get on the flash bandwagon, because flash is absolutely the way to go, not only for this, but for a whole lot of other stuff. It just opens the doors, to everything. It would be kind of like getting an ice cream sundae, right? And they give you a choice. Do you want an ice cream sundae or do you want the banana split? Okay, that's the difference. I mean, I'll take the banana split 99% of the time, right? Why am I only going to get one flavor with no banana and no coconuts and no pecans? You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm taking the banana split, right? So yeah, that's kind of like what flash is like, man. Flash gives you everything. It opens every possible scenario in photography. That's why you hear me talk about it constantly. Flash, flash, flash. Now, you don't always have to use flash. There's going to be a lot of situations where you don't. But in the particular situation that she's talking about, there's no way around it. She absolutely needs flash, because even if she's shooting something with a lower f-stop, yeah, you can get away with taking the picture, but is it going to look good? it'll look okay at best, even with the low f-stop number, because you're still gonna have to bring your ISO up. Versus when you shoot with flash, most of my events I shoot at ISO 800, no matter how dark it is. You heard me right. Yes, I said ISO 800, no matter how dark it is. Okay, I shoot every single camera I own, even the old. I can shoot my Canon 20D ISO, and actually on that camera I might even come back. But no, I will still shoot that at 800. Okay, and give me two flashes, and I'll be good. I can shoot the entire event. I don't care how. It could be pitch black. It could be outdoors, which, if you've ever done an outdoor event with no walls, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Because all the light that you shoot off, it just goes into nowhere. It doesn't bounce off of anything. And so, yeah, you get some super dark pictures. So, yeah, give me 2 flashes any day of the week. Give me any camera. Give me any lens. I can shoot an entire event at f8 if I needed to with 2 flashes. 5.6, 2 flashes. f4, 2 flashes. But you get the idea, right? Flash absolutely is the way to go for most situations, and specifically this situation. So one more. We're going to answer one more. We're going to call it a show because I'm running kind of longer than what I thought I was going to do. But here we go. So here is a question not asked very often. What is everyone doing with the photos that they take? So as a professional, I am selling the pictures that I take, right? I sometimes will enjoy them. And I have taken pictures before for clients that really resonated with me for some reason. I don't know what it is sometimes. I look at pictures all day, every day, guys, whether it's for clients or whether I'm in, the Walgreens and I see a magazine. I'm just constantly drawn, constantly critiquing. And there are some pictures that I've taken that just really stand out for me. So even though I might print something for my client, there are pictures that I've taken that I personally like and I have hanging here in the garage, okay? I've shown them before on here in different videos. But yeah, there's some pictures that I absolutely like. They're just stunning. It not only represents the camera, the lens, but it also represents me and the work that I do. And so it's super obvious to not only myself, but to anybody else that comes in that, hey, this guy really likes photography, right? It represents my work all the way around. And so you better bet you can count your chickens and bet that. So yeah, basically that's what it boils down to, guys. There's photos that I've taken, and I personally enjoy them myself, but I have a stack like this big. Well, no, I have several stacks. I got a stack here, a stack here, a stack here, and maybe another stack over here. That's about how many USB drives that I have.
Whispering is this thing you're done.
So that's how big of a collection that I have of photos, and I like to hold on to them because customers always come back and ask for them, no matter how if I deliver it to them online, if I deliver it to them in a USB, if I delivered it to them on a CD drive, or if I put it on a Blu-ray, right? Because I got the archivable 100 gigabytes, so I could put it on a DVD, on a Blu-ray. I'm sorry, on a Blu-ray drive, and yeah, they will almost, I would say, you have a 50-50 chance they're going to come back and want to buy those pictures from you again. So even though they've already paid for their event, they lose their little USB drive and they do come back. Now, is it a headache to try and find their pictures? Yeah, absolutely. I hate when they ask me for something from when they go way back, like 2013 or 2012. Then, it's really tough, because I have to open a whole bunch of USB drives. But hey, I charge them however much time it takes me to find it and create that. So I might charge them $200 or $300, and guess what? It's work for me, and they're happy to pay for it. So that's what I do with my pictures, right? So I hope you're liking this, guy. This is going to be a new format. I really like this idea. I saw somebody else not do it it was kind of a different subject. It wasn't photography, but I like this, taking questions off of Facebook. I've requested numerous times on here for people to ask questions. Nobody asked questions, so I'm just going to start grabbing questions off of Facebook for right now, and maybe I might look for questions in other places to help me out if I'm not finding out. But Facebook, is a really good source, and so I'm going to keep pulling from there for right now. We'll see how this goes. I hope you're enjoying this video. I want to share a little bit of my knowledge as a working professional, and have been doing it for nearly 20 years now. That's just crazy to me to think about. But yeah, I want to share my experience with you guys, and hopefully I can give you some good answers. And I hope you're enjoying the show, period, guys. So if you like this video, if you watched it this far, it's amazing. Thumbs up for me. Thumbs down if you watched it this far and you said, holy mackerel, I just wasted 15 minutes of my day or my life. Thank you for that. 15 minutes, and you can give me a thumbs down for it. You can visit our website. We're on the webs at www.camera64.com. And I'm going to put some links below for for eBay. And if you should use any of those links, guys, I make a really small commission off of it. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but you help out the channel. Cameras that I really enjoy, like I said, the 70D is amazing. The 20D is amazing. The 1D Mark III, all these cameras can be had for a couple of $100 or less. And in the case of the 20D, you could pick it up for like $50. But it's great to learn on, and that's the whole idea, guys. Just get out there, enjoy photography, learn all you can. Once you learn photography, you can get any camera you want. I just recommend Canon because that's what I use. That's the only reason I recommend Canon, guys. But other than that, I hope this is a great show. I hope you enjoyed it. I love doing it for you. And we'll see you next time, guys. Till next time, take care. Bye-bye.